With only 2 races remaining in the One-Up Nitro National Series season, we are here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the site of the second race of the season back in March, and the site of an incredible battle between Alex Vergette-Barube and Elijah Ironhouse, the 2 teammates battling for victory at end. Neither are in contention for the championship, though, this time in the season. But we got 2 Kings Motorsports cars in very good shape to race for a title come 1 week's time at Homestead Miami Speedway. We still have 1 week to go until then. We got 65 laps at Atlanta to deal with first, and I'm sure they'll be just as exciting as they were in the spring. Alongside me in the booth today is Duke Ansack for today's running at Atlanta, and this is a track your cars seem to like. It's a lot of fun, a lot of tire wear, a lot of multi-groove racing, 2 and 3 wide all over the place. There's nothing you can't love about Atlanta.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Atlanta is one of those tracks. It's an old school race track with an old school surface. It's just one of those places that drivers love to race at. You know, it's slip sliding around. It's a manhandling that wheel, and you're right. We've had some good results here. The Team Duke cars qualified all 3 of them in the top 16 today. But really, the pressing matter is this championship fight. You know, with 2 races left to go in this season, we've got Keon Daley and Ryan Caggiano. 2 points separate those, or 7 points separate those 2 drivers. Man, I'll tell you what, that is going to be exciting to keep an eye on during today's race and next week's race, and I really am looking forward to it. I'm so glad it's happening at Atlanta.
To quite the surprise of many in the garage, both those 2 drivers did not have very good qualifying efforts in this race, as we can give you the full lineup for today's running at Atlanta. Keon Daley, the championship leader, starts 19th today, while his closest challenger, Ryan Caggiano, starts all the way back in 30th. So both of them have a lot of work to do to make their way up to the front of the field, but no one's got a better view than Alex Vergette-Barube, the winner here in the spring. He starts on pole position with Christian Russell alongside him in his second to last start in the Nitro National Series before moving down the trucks next year. Dillon Young starts third with Felix Anderson and Francois Chastain rounding out the top 5. Cody Goforth makes his Nitro National Series debut today. He starts 10th. Elijah Ironhouse, the spring pole sitter here, starts 11th. We've got a lot of big names, and time's running out for some of these outside contenders, and if they don't perform, they might find themselves out of a shot here.
You're right, and Keon Daley and Ryan Caggiano both starting farther back in the pack is big news, because we've got Keon Daley in 19th, and the bigger news, I think, is the 81 starting all the way back in 30th. That is going to be a tough hill to climb, but somebody that we should not sleep on today is Dillon Young in the 92 car. He's only 24 points out of the lead, and he is starting this race in 3rd place. If those other 2 drivers, the 52 and the 81, if they can't get up through the pack, Dillon Young is going to be right in this championship fight going into the final race.
It could be a 3-car battle for this championship. You never know. After 65 laps, we'll know for sure. And the green flag is coming up next. This is the One Up Nitro National Series from Atlanta Motor Speedway. You're not going to want to miss a thing, because 65 laps of racing is coming up next. With the field rolling off of turn 4, the pace car's off. We ask you to join us for a silent lap 1. Alex Vergette-Barube leads them to the line. Green flag in the air. We are underway for 65 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Quite unlike the start we saw here in the spring, Alex Vergette-Barube took off in a big way, but now he's under fire from Dillon Young in the 92. You said at the top of the show he'd be a force to be reckoned with today, and already he's cleared the 3 of Alex Vergette-Barube off of turn 2. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway and into turn 3. Dillon Young's going to try and side draft this 3 car, and you're right, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He always excels on high-wear racetracks like this, and this is no exception, and I believe he's going to lead this lap at the line. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he got that lap at the line. I'm surprised that the 3 car moved up the track so soon after that amazing restart, or was the start of the race there. I'm surprised that he moved up because it seems like that's the slower place to be right now. But maybe Dillon Young is just that much faster, no matter what. So it's looking good. Here comes the three, kind of using the middle now, following Dillon Young through the corner there. And you know what? Dillon Young, now that he's out front, I think he's going to be really tough to beat. But we've got a raging pack of cars coming quick. They're 3 wide going for third.
Jake McMillan in the 21. This is his best start in the Nitro National Series. He's making a move for third on Christian Russell in the 26, and he's going to try and see if he can sneak around the 3 as well. He's going to tuck back in line now. Car number 21 on the outside. He's going to swing high, higher even than Alex is in this 3 car. McMillan now going to try and make a move on the high side, and he's going to take it at the line by nose. This 21 car could be a factor. It's not. He might just have good short run pace, and these cars run really well in a pack, just like a super speedway almost. As you can see, a rocket off of turn 2 and still in a very tight pack of cars. But Dillon Young still holds the lead, but he's under fire from everybody in the top 10.
Yeah, this is absolutely incredible right now. I mean, look at this. We're 3 wide for the lead at Atlanta. It's looking a lot like Pensacola right now. This is incredible. But yeah, this is awesome racing so far. Dillon Young not out of the woods despite being the leader here. Lots of people to challenge with, and here comes Elijah Ironhouse, somebody that did so well in the second race of the season here at Atlanta. Now matching up with his teammate for in the inside or in the middle lane right there. They're getting together, trying to make something happen on the bottom. Is the 3 car going for the lead?
Up round the outside, ripping the wall is Jake McMillan coming off of turn 4. He's going to get around both Young and Alex Vergepperu. McMillan leads at the line now. What a power move by the 21 car. I don't know how long he's going to hold it because Dillon Young's ripping the middle line really well, and Alex is just hugging that yellow line. There is no particularly bad line here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as we just saw.
Yeah, I think that if I were out there right now, I'd want to be on the bottom just because it's the shortest way around. And Alex has gotten the lead. He's the sole proprietor of the lead right now, out there all clean in clear on both sides. But you know, I think that I want to be on the bottom. Nobody can sneak below you if you're on the bottom. So that's where I want to be. Dillon Young has moved down there, but man, that outside, if you're getting a push, like look at the 8 car pushing the 21 right now. They're going to get a huge run coming out of this corner. They're going to be able to get by. Oh, they're not going to get by Dillon Young. Here we're going back through the pack, trying to find our championship contenders.
There's Keon Daley. He's currently moved up a little bit. Actually, he's running right about where he started this race, right in about the 18th, 19th position. He hasn't gained much ground in this race, and he's got a hungry pack of cars directly ahead, alongside, and behind Keon Daley. So there's plenty of passing opportunities in front of him. He just needs to pick his way through the traffic. Because as things stand right now, Keon Daley would keep the championship lead, but it wouldn't be to Ryan Caggiano at this point. It would be to Dillon Young in the 92. Yeah. Who's taken the lead back from Alex Vergepperu. Ryan Caggiano is sort of following Keon Daley through the traffic. He's made his way further up the field than his teammate, but as we go back to the lead at hand, Dillon Young racing Alex Vergepperu for that position. Keon Daley and Ryan Caggiano just have to manage their stuff. Maybe try some undercuts here and there to try and get some track position, because they really need it if they're going to keep this championship from Dillon Young. He was an outside contender going in, but he looks like a real favorite now.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of fans out there that love the racing like this, when it's high action, side-by-side, high-intensity battles on the track, and there's other fans that like a strategic race. Well, this time, we're going to get both. We're not sure if it's going to be a 2-stop strategy or a 1-stop strategy that wins this race. You know, so that's something we're keeping our eye on, because the tires wear so much here. There's so much fall off, and you're going so much slower at the end of the run. So if you undercut somebody here and pit a lap or 2 before them, you could gain 5 or 6 seconds easily, just by the fact of the matter that you pitted 1 lap before. So we'll watch those guys in the back, especially Keon Daley and Ryan Caggiano, to try something like that. But right here, the battle up front is raging, and they're side by side for 2nd place still. And look at this, you know, even they're getting a little bit spread out, they're still side by side all the way back behind the leader.
And it's now a Team Duke 1-2. well, just as we saw in the spring with Alex Vergeperu leading home Elijah Ironhouse. But Ironhouse is going for more. Wow. He rips the high side like Jake McMillan did earlier. He gets around his teammate Alex Vergeperu, put Elijah Ironhouse in the lead of this race on lap to number 13. This is a track he really likes, and he's looking for his second career win here. He's not a part of the championship fight, but man, if he were, just imagine how far up the standings he would have been.
Gosh, I know. It was so disappointing for him and that whole team to just barely miss out with some bad luck at the end of the regular season there. And, right now he's showing that he's going to be a part of it. He's coming back next season. Both of these drivers are. And look at this. It looks a lot like the spring race. Different paint schemes on those cars, but they're side by side battling for the lead here in Atlanta. It's deja vu coming around turn 2 right here.
Move Jared Jackson in the 23 up to the 3rd spot. He's been silently working his way up through the field. That 23 Citgo Chevrolet making gains on the racetrack, getting past Dillon Young in the 92. But right now, it is Elijah Ironhouse, car number 8, leading the way here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the site of plenty of historic moments in racing history, and I'm sure we're going to see another one right here as Elijah Ironhouse holds about a 0.3 of a second lead as Dillon Young starts to try and make his way around Alex in the 3. He's going to try it, but Alex has got the momentum on the high side. He's not going to be able to clear him this time.
Yeah, it also looks like he might be pulling a little bit of draft down the back straightaway from the leader, Elijah Ironhouse. That's beneficial for Elijah Ironhouse to pull the guy on the outside, not only because he's a teammate, but also because you don't want the guy on the inside to have the run. Then he could sneak below you on the straightaway maybe. So pull the guy on the outside, keep that lead. It's still just a few tenths there. The lead is. It's a more comfortable lead than we've seen all day today. At certain tracks, a comfortable lead means different things. I'd say that's a comfortable lead in this raging pack of cars here at Atlanta. So especially with a teammate behind you trying to block the Dillon Young, that playoff driver, going back to the bottom here to try something, and maybe the 3 is going to go to the outside.
Yeah, Alex Vergeperu, he's got to be thinking this is his final chance to make inroads into the championship fight. He's barely inside the top 10 in points right now. He's a long way back of the leader, Keon Daley. He needs to hope that a lot of playoff guys falter and that he can go on to win this race. That's his only shot. Without that, his championship aspirations will likely come to an end this season after this race. But we have cars like Dillon Young, Nicky Martinez, Jared Jackson, Sam Dinoto, all in the top 10. That's not helping this 3 car. And I'd be remiss to mention Christian Russell as well. While he's eliminated from the championship picture, he's still going to work to try and get up into the points positions a little bit, as we got a battle for second raging on once again. Nicky Martinez starting to join the battle now between Young and Alex Vergeperu. But Martinez giving Young a push down the back straightaway and moved the 92 back up in the 2nd place.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of playoff drivers up here that we haven't seen a lot of in the last couple weeks. The whole story has been evolving around Keon Daley and Ryan Caggiano, who are so far outside of this battle for the lead right now that they're it's seemingly irrelevant despite being the 2 leaders of this championship. We've got a bunch of guys up here that have not made a lot of headlines recently, and this is awesome to watch. We've got the 92 Dillon Young trying to make some ground on the 2 struggling championship leaders. We've got Alex Vergeperu, who's trying to salvage something after an amazing regular season and a poor playoff performance so far. And we've got Nicky Martinez, who's still just on the edge of contention, and we've got a lot of good stuff happening here, plus Elijah Ironhouse, who's going for his 2nd win of the season to try to say, hey, if I was a playoff driver, you guys would want to watch out next season. It's going to be tough to beat that 8 car. So right now he's keeping that lead. He's keeping it ahead of the Dillon Young car, and that's really impressive from that team.
I'd also be remiss if I didn't give a shout out here to Eric Monaco in the 73 car. Yet to score a top 10 this season, despite being in some of the better Dodge equipment on the field and Genesis Engineering equipment. He's currently solidly up in the top 10 in the 8th position. I know it's still early in this race, but if he can hang on and finish right there, it'd be his first top 10 in a very long time. And it would do a lot to help him keep that ride for 2022. We're not sure the status of the Genesis Engineering cars, if they'll return, and if so, who will drive them. but that's a good run for Eric Monaco as Dillon Young makes a move for the lead coming off of 4.
He cut low coming from the middle of the track. He snuck low of Elijah Ironhouse right there. It looks like it's going to work out for him as well. He's going to clear for the lead. Elijah's going to stay in that middle lane like they were racing in the spring. Both those two Team Duke cars are staying in the middle there, but Dillon Young is ripping the bottom, and he's not even going all the way to the outside in the straightaway until the very end of this, until the end of the straightaway going into the next corner. Now he's
trying to break the toe on the 2 cars behind it.
Yeah, it looks like now, so he's moved to the middle as well. He's got a big lead here, of course. Oh, and Nicky Martinez is battling for the 3rd position with the 3 car back there. Yeah, the 92's running about a half lane lower than those guys behind. Not as much. Elijah anticipated it, maybe. He stayed in that draft a little bit through the corner. Here comes the 3 car on the outside. Man, it's all about the line that you take right now. I feel like, if you're running a little bit lower, because it's interesting because you want to be on the throttle for as long as you can through the corner, right? And the lower you go on the track, the more you have to come off the throttle. So you want to be a little bit up so you can use the throttle, but if you can be lower and use the same amount of throttle as somebody who's higher up the track than you, you're going to be going a little bit faster just because the track is shorter for you. And I think that that's where Dillon Young is really excelling right now, because that car sticks a lot lower to the track than these cars behind him, and that's why he's starting to pull away a little bit with the lead.
Looking through the rest of the field, Keon Daley has slipped down the running order. You can see he's running all the way back in the 25th position, nearly 4 seconds off the lead. And as things stand right now, he might actually lose the championship lead to Dillon Young in the 92, who's leading this race. This is disastrous for the Kings Motorsports team, who've been doing so well throughout the entire season. Because Keon Daley, of course, got that win at Knoxville to boost his playoff charge. Ryan Caggiano has a few of his own, but they're both struggling deep in the field. Caggiano's faring a little better, running inside the top 20 as we speak. But right now, they're both having a rough time, but we still have 40 laps to go in this race. As Elijah Ironhouse makes a move for the lead right here, we still have 40 laps to go. Anything can still happen, but they got to start worrying a little bit about their outright pace.
Boy, and that move that Elijah Ironhouse pulled was exactly the opposite of the move that Dillon Young pulled on him to take the lead. He came in the same corner, he came up behind him, and then instead of going to the bottom, he cut high, got a little bit of side draft on that 92 car, and then was able to beat him down the straightaway. Let's see if he can clear him coming through these corners. He's got a teammate behind him as well, fighting for second place. They're side by side, punching a bigger hole through the air, slowing down. The 3's going to give the 8 a little push. No, he's going to go to the outside of him. Are they 3? They're not 3 wide yet, but man, what a battle for the lead we've got here. 27 laps into this thing.
It's a 3-car battle for the lead with Nicky Martinez about 9/10 of a second back. It looks like it's, barring any issues on pit road, it looks like it'll be a battle between these 3 cars for the race win. Anything can still happen, though. We still have just under 40 laps to go in this race. But even still, these cars are putting on a show for these fans here at Atlanta. And Elijah Ironhouse doing his best to hang tough on the outside. Dillon Young still trying to side draft the 8 car, trying to make his life a living hell. But right now, Elijah leads the lap by 2/100ths of a second, but Dillon Young's edging ahead through 1 and 2. Will he be able to clear?
Yeah, it looks like he will. He ran that bottom line. He didn't allow Elijah Ironhouse to get down there. Oh, he's just barely clear of him. He wasn't able to move up, though. He wasn't clear enough to move up. Now the 8's got to run. The 92 is stuck on the bottom, getting squeezed down there. The 8's going to be ahead. He's going to get clear of the lead, and the 3 is coming on the outside as well.
Yeah, that looks like that middle to outside groove is the place to be to maintain momentum, because these tires are very worn out by now. They've had 28 laps on these tires. The lap times have gone down by about 3 seconds, and it just makes more sense to carry more momentum around the outside than to slow down more to take the inside corner, which may be the slower line. Ooh, as Ironhouse chops off Dillon Young. That could open the door for Alex to take the lead right here. But it looks like
they're pitting.
Yeah, they're hitting pit road. Ironhouse and Young are hitting pit road early in this one. I'm not sure if that'll get them to the end of the race. But Alex Frigette-Brube staying out a little longer. He's leading the way, and it looks like those are the only 2 cars hitting pit road this early.
Wow, that's interesting. You think that they're the leaders for sure. They know something that everybody else doesn't, but at the same time, that's an interesting call. I mean, we're not quite halfway there yet. I mean, on fuel, I think maybe you could make it, but I don't know. They're going to have to save a little bit. Let's see if anybody pits here. Looks like Alex is going to pit. He's running really low. Yep, he's coming off the course now.
I don't see anyone coming with him, though. Nicky Martinez, who's to take the lead. Christian Russell's coming to the pits with Alex. It looks like they're going to be the only ones. Keon Daley stays out. Ryan Caggiano stays out. Kyle Corbett, Roberto Crown Jr., they come in as Ironhouse and Young exit the pits. There's Ryan Caggiano. He's running in the top 15 now. Keon Daley just outside the top 10. And I don't know if they're... Oh, my goodness. Look at this pack of cars from, gosh, about 5th place all the way back to about 20th.
That is incredible. There's so many cars all stacked up right here. I mean, again, it looks a lot like Pensacola with that many cars all together. Man, I don't know. I'm wondering if that move by the 3 to come into the pits was reactionary to the other 2 coming in. I just don't know if they're going to make it to the end. If they do, their tires are going to be many laps older than these tires that are still on the track. I mean, I'd be looking at these 2, Sam Dinoto and Nicky Martinez, to be really the favorites to go win this race. Oh, but Sam Dinoto's pitting here. I want to stay out as long as I can in this stint right here, because I think that that's what's going to win this race. One pit stop to make it to the end. I think that we're about halfway right now, so I think that if you pit here, you can make it to the end.
Keon Daley is in the pits, but Ryan Caggiano is staying on the racetrack. This could be huge for the championship battle, as Caggiano stays on the racetrack to just stretch his stint a little longer. And I can confirm, pitting here should get you to the end of the race, because we are past halfway in this race on lap 33, and it looks like everybody else is going to make their pit stops now. Now that they're well past their fuel window, they can make their way into the pits and survive to fight another day. There goes Alex Vergepperu, and there goes the rest of the pack behind him. They're gonna run circles around these guys while they hit pit road, as it looks like, you see Cody Goforth exiting the pits and a whole score of others. Jared Jackson looks like he had to pit a second time to address a valve stem that got knocked loose on their pit stop. He will drop off the lead lap as a result. But right now, it looks like Dillon Young will assume the lead of this race in a massive fashion over second place. We'll check what the scoring looks like at the stripe. But Dillon Young, he is going to have a very big lead when this pit stop cycle is all said and done with.
Wow. He really does have a big lead. I mean, and, it looks like maybe the 8 car just had a bad pit stop, because the 3 who pitted a lap after is a couple seconds ahead. So, yeah, he's battling with Christian Russell right there. Must have been a bad pit stop on Elijah Ironhouse's car. I don't know, because I don't think that any of those drivers, if they're not able to make it to the end, we're gonna want to watch some of these drivers who are further back. I'm thinking Nicky Martinez and Audrey Anzac. They both were able to. They pitted right at halfway. I think that they're gonna be the 2 to watch. Maybe the ones that pitted. Sam Dinoto, who pitted a lap before them. But I don't know about the 4 leaders from the beginning of this race. I'm not sure, unless Dillon Young is going to be able to save a lot of fuel out here. It's going to be interesting coming to the end. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Dillon Young has a quite massive lead. As you can see, Jared Jackson did go a lap down as a result. A couple other cars had slow pit stops, such as Cody Goforth. A real shame for him. He was having a really solid effort in his Nitro National Series debut for Kings Motorsports. He currently runs 35th, 22 seconds off the lead. But there's still plenty of time for stuff to happen, and he could try and stretch his fuel to the end, try and salvage a top 15 still. But right now, it is Dillon Young out in the lead of this race by at least 4 seconds over the rest of the field. Dillon Young is in the catbird seat, not only to win the race, but to potentially take the championship lead going into the season finale at Homestead.
You're right. That's a big move if it works. It's going to be interesting going into the later stages of this race to see not only if those tires can hold up all the way, if the fuel is going to last all the way to the end of this race, but if the people who pitted after him, if they're going to have enough of a tire advantage towards the end of this race to be able to gain a lot of time. I mean, let's see what it is at the line. He's 3.5 seconds ahead right now. And then coming across the line, it stays about the same. So 3.5 seconds for Dillon Young. I don't know if he's saving anything. I can't imagine he is, but man, it would be good for him to save a little bit.
Yeah, he'd want to save ideally about 4 or 5 laps of fuel here to try and make it to the end. It's not easy to do when you're going at full throttle so often here at a place like Atlanta, but he's going to try and make it work. He's really good at managing his equipment, is Dillon Young, and he's proving it here today. He's leading at lap 39 with a 3.5 second lead over the Team Duke cars, who are currently second and third. Christian Russell fourth. Alexa Lutchen rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, and think about the implications of that call. If Dillon Young is able to dominate the rest of this race and win because of that pit move, think about the implications, because he will at that point have led the most laps if he continues leading all the way, right? And then he's going to have led 1 lap. That's 2 more bonus points. He gets the first place points.
And he holds the fastest lap as well, so that's another
There you go. This could be a max points day for this 92 car on a day where Keon Daley...
Oh, I hate to interrupt. We've got a smoker on the backstretch.
Oh, no.
And it's Giovanni Pena in the 99. His race has come to an end on lap 40. We'll see if this brings out a caution flag. That would change the strategy entirely for everybody on the racetrack. Looking at the flag stand now, I don't see a caution coming out for this. So we will stay green, but Giovanni Pena's race is over just like that. It's a shame for him. He'll have one more shot in a Nitro National car at Homestead next week before moving on to the Turbo Truck Series in 2022 for BTB Motorsports. But right now, Dillon Young stretching his lead out a little bit. It's now 4 seconds over Alex Verstappen. And now Elijah Ironhouse is facing pressure from Christian Russell in the 26. Zachary DeLello having a good run, running up in the 9th position. And look right behind him. There's Keon Daley, the championship leader in that car number 52, trying to make a move on Keith Hughes to get up into the top 10, because Daley runs in the 11th position. We're going to try and find where Ryan Caggiano cycled out as well. But if Keon Daley can just pick off these cars one by one, salvage a top 10 finish, he might yet still have this championship in his lap by the time we get to Homestead next week.
Yeah, because Dillon Young was 24 points behind, so if he, the 92 finishes in the top 10, that's not going to be as much of an advantage. It definitely puts Dillon Young in contention next week. And right now, while we can't find the 81, he's definitely farther back. Looking at that, just the way that the math works out, he's going to be in a really tough spot next week if it all works out this way. Of course, we're not sure if this 92 car can make it to the end of this race on fuel, and if he does, is he going to be able to maintain the speed that he has against all those cars with much better tires? And I'm thinking of correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the car that's leading the charge of the freshest tires is the 86, and then the 50 car as well. I'm not completely sure, but I know that Sam Dinoto in 8th place has some really fresh tires, fresher than these leaders. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those guys if they're able to get up there and really put a charge to the front. But right now, Dillon Young not saving a dang thing. He is pulling away from everybody else.
And what he might be able to do is get a bit of draft off this lap car, John McFadden, to try and save a little bit of fuel this way. Let off the gas, let the air effects from the 27 car pull him along down this back straightaway, for example, because McFadden will be lapped by Dillon Young at some point in time in the near future. But maybe what Young could do is just maybe stay behind this 27, draft off him for a few laps, save enough fuel. But I don't think he wants to do that. He wants to get past, put a buffer between himself. As we look back, we can see Ryan Caggiano running 22nd in this race. That will do him no favors in his bid for the championship, considering that Keon Daley is still running in 11.
Yeah, that's really not a good day for Ryan Caggiano. You have to expect more from that team in such an important race in the championship with only one race remaining after this one. You have to perform if you want to win this championship. And I'm looking at this 92 car, and without any problems, man, it is going to be that they're going to talk about that move for a long time if this works out for the 92, because this puts him in position to have a shot at winning a championship next week against Keon Daley, who has been so good in the playoffs. So this is fascinating to watch. It looks like the 50 car has gotten up to second place though. Here she is, Alexa Lutchen. Man, maybe going to start chopping down that lead a little bit. I'm pretty sure there's fresher tires on that car. That Ford Mustang is looking really good. The Team Duke cars side by side, of course, at Atlanta. Can't expect much less from them. And then behind that is the 26 of Christian Russell. So those are the 4 cars that pitted the earliest. The 3, the 8, the 26, and the 92. And I think that this 50 car has got the freshest tires of the top 5 right now and trying to chase down the leader. Knocked off a 10th. Not sure if that was a fluke or not. We'll see next time by. But this could get interesting at the end. We still got plenty of time left.
With under 20 laps to go, though, time is running out for Alexa Lutchen. Will she burn up those tires trying to get to Dillon Young? And by the time if she gets there at all, will she have run out of equipment to try and pass the 92? She's currently 4.5 seconds back. We'll see what it is at the line. She gained 2 tenths on the last lap. Will that be enough is the question. If she can continue to gain that much time per lap, will that be enough? With about 17 laps to go, will that be enough to catch Dillon Young and see if Alexa Lutchen can't get her second career win?
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to do the math there, 2/10 every lap per this many laps, but it's going to change. It's going to fluctuate. So it's not, it's just take it lap by lap here. Watch it and see it's 4:30 right now, crossing the line, 4:18. So another tenth and a half chopped off about right there from the 50 car. So that's going to be interesting. She's got the 27 to pass, and then she's also going to have to pass that 92 car, of course, who has been pretty tough to pass. Of course, passing can only be so tough here at Atlanta. There's a lot of lanes to work with, a lot of draft you can get. So we're just going to have to watch and see what happens if the 50 car can get up there. If there's any saving having to go on by the 92 car, I think the 50 car is in a really good spot. And of course, she's definitely in the best spot if the situation were to come where the 92 runs out of fuel, blows a tire or anything here. And we're watching Keon Daley fighting for a spot in the top 10 right here. It's the 03 who was in 10th place just a second ago. Now Keon Daley's going by the 03 and the 72 on the bottom. So that's going to put the 52 in the top 10, moving and grooving here towards the end of the race. Exactly what that team needs to be able to stay in this championship fight and stay ahead in the standings.
This will bump Keon Daley up to the 9th position on the racetrack. He's still going to receive pressure from Cook and from Dillon behind. But the championship leader still hanging tough in the top 10. He's going to move up to cover off Cook, but Dillon's already underneath him. Down the back straightaway we go. It is Zachary Dillon trying to clear Keon Daley. He's not quite close enough. As they go side by side through the corner, we look back to find Ryan Caggiano. There he is. He's running about 17th position. Still, okay. So he's making improvements to that car, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough at this point in time. I could be proven wrong. We still have about 13 laps to go, but man, time is running out for this Vegemite Toyota, this Kings Motorsports 81, to make something happen of it in these final few laps.
Well, here's something I just noticed. The 8 car and the 3 car who pitted in the same 2-lap span as the 92, they, as soon as traffic got to them and it's gotten around them, they are dropping through this field like rocks. I mean, the 3 is down to 5th, the 8 is down to 7th, and I'm sure that they're going to lose more positions at the line here. We'll see. They have the 8 down to 8th, and the 3 stays in 5th, but those 2 cars pitted on the same laps as the 92, and look at the 50, the gap to the 50. It's 3.6 seconds now. This might not have been the strategy call for the 92, especially risking the fact that there's not a lot you can do if you run out of fuel in this thing. So we'll see. Look at this. The 52 knows that there's blood in the water up there with the 8 car holding everybody up. Keon Daley is trying to move through this field.
Oh, he clips the apron a little bit through the trioval. That's going to cost him some time. He drops from 9th position. Looks like he's going to fall back to about 13th. He's going to try and fight it back, though, on the inside of Keith Hughes in that 11 car. He is on the fringes of championship contention. He'll likely be knocked out, though, after this race. But Keon Daley trying to regain lost time for that one mistake in the quad oval. This is going to be a close battle, but we now have 10 laps to go from Atlanta.
Yeah, man, I am not a huge fan of that strategy of pitting early on that first stop. I mean, especially that early. I understand maybe pitting on 32 to beat those guys who pit on lap 33, but Man, it really is not looking good for all those drivers, including Dillon Young, who, could get a good finish here, but I don't think Dillon Young is going to win. This 50 car is on a move, on a tear right now with just less than 10 laps left in this thing. I mean, it's going to be close coming to the end. Let's see what the gap is here. 284, so that's another almost a 2/10 chopped off of that lead every single lap. With that, I mean, the 50 is going to get there. It's not difficult to pass, plenty of lanes to pass in. The 27 probably won't prove to be much of a challenge for the 50. In fact, the 50 might get some draft off the 27, which would help. So I don't know about this. This is really interesting. The 3 and the 8 are really eating it for choosing that strategy, pitting, and it's just a matter of time before the 92 gets himself in the same situation. Although not much gain on that lap from the 50 car, but I think that this is going to be really, really close at the end of this race.
The big question I have regarding Alexa Lutchen, is she burning enough more fuel than everybody else, chasing down Dillon Young? She might not have enough to make it either. We will see in these closing laps, but with Dillon Young, it's Dillon Young leading Alexa Lutchen by 2.8 seconds. Sam Dinoto third, Christian Russell, Aaron Hall rounding out the top 5. As we now have 7 laps to go. Alexa Lutchen just gained a whole heap of time on that lap. 7/10 of a second. Alexa Lutchen is burning up everything to try and catch Dillon Young. She must think she's got enough fuel in the tank. I'm not sure, but she must think so, and she's chopping away at that gap in huge amounts. We're coming to 6 laps to go this time.
Yep, yeah, so she is pushing that car to the absolute limit, and she just got in the draft of the 27 car as well, so that's a couple of factors that have led to a big gain on that last lap. We're not looking at the top 10 right now, so we're not going to see... Oh, there it is, 208. Let's see if
there she is getting around McFadden. Now we look back at the championship contenders. They are running nose to tail right now. Keon Daley, Ryan Caggiano, 13th and 14th on this racetrack. Pretty average positions for these guys, and I know Dillon Young's still leading this race, but that's what Keon Daley wants to see, is Ryan Caggiano within sight to maintain that gap over him. But it looks like a couple cars are making the trip to pit road. Kyle Corbett's one of them. Elijah Ironhouse is one of them, and Dillon Young's one of them too. He's run it dry. He cannot make it to the end. The 2 Team Duke cars pit with him. That is going to cycle the lead to Alexa Lutchen in the 50. Did she burn up enough fuel to have to pit again, or is this Alexa Lutchen's race to lose?
Gosh, and she's got to be kicking herself right now for pushing so hard. She could have been saving fuel that whole time. Let's see what happens here. But that is significantly earlier than I thought they were going to have to pit. I mean, 4 laps. It was only a difference of maybe 2 or 3 laps that everybody else pitted. Well, we'll have to see. This thing might not be quite over yet. I mean, there's a lot of people. The first person in the running order right now that pitted exactly at halfway was Sam Dinoto, and he's running in 2nd place right now, and I believe that that's the case at least. So we'll have to see what happens coming to the close of this thing. Man, what a heartbreak for Dillon Young, who is definitely going to be knocked out of contention if nothing changes here. Look, it's the 50 car coming into the pits, I think.
She burned up her stuff too early. She cannot make it to the end. Alexa Lutchen pits. That gives the lead to Sam Dinoto in the 00, coming to 3 laps to go in this race. Ryan Caggiano and Keon Daley, they both stay on the racetrack. They are up into 6th and 9th, respectively, as you see Christian Russell coming out of the pits. But with Keith Hughes, Audrey Anzac, and Nicky Martinez right with them, now it's a Carter Racing System 1-2. Could Sam Dinoto be an outside championship contender by winning this race? We don't know. We're coming to 2 laps to go. Is Dinoto going to go for it? It looks like he is.
So yeah, Sam Dinoto.
Aaron Hall can't make it. He's coming in. Zachary DeLello cannot make it. Keon Daley can't make it. This is huge. This is huge for the championship as Keon Daley pits with 2 laps to go. This is going to kill his race, and it could. And Ryan Caggiano is still out there. He's going to try and make this thing last. Ryan Caggiano could be in the catbird seat for the championship right now. He's running in 3rd. We're coming to the white flag this time. He doesn't even need to push that hard because his championship contenders have all fallen by the wayside already, as we're coming to the white flag this time.
No, if Ryan Caggiano wants to win this championship, he has got to stay on that racetrack. I mean, he has got to stay out. We'll see. It looks like he will. Certainly here he stayed out, so it's the final lap here. Ryan Caggiano, in an incredible twist of events, is going to leave this race with a huge lead over Keon Daley and all of his competitors, and Sam Dinoto might be still in the fight going into the final race. Let's see.
Into 3 and 4 for the final time. He might not have expected to be winning this race when midway through it, but here comes Sam Dinoto off of turn 4 for the final time. He still got a shot at the championship. As coming off of turn 4, Sam Dinoto gets his 4th win of the season at Atlanta. Eric Monaco gets his first top 10 of the season and second. Ryan Caggiano comes home third to gain the championship lead. Nicky Martinez and Audrey Anzac round out the top 5. Brett Bishop comes home 6th. Logan Williams 7th. Zach Rogers 8th. Welcome Kenneth Grant back to the top 10 for the first time since March. And Francois Chastain rounds out the top 10. This running order has been severely shaken up by the finish of this race. It looks like Dillon Young, after running out of fuel, will finish this race in the 15th position, 1 lap down. And Keon Daley will finish 22nd, and he will lose the championship lead. Going into the season finale at Homestead, Ryan Caggiano holds the lead by 12.
That is just a twisted way to finish this race. I mean, my goodness, to see that 81 car finish this race in third after such a horrible qualifying effort, not a great race. The strategy played out at the end to really put that car in position, and now they've got a real, genuine shot to keep the lead in the next race and win the championship over Keon Daley, Dillon Young, and Sam Dinoto in the next race because of some great strategy. Man, oh man, what a classic race that was. Man, have you ever?
No, I haven't. And for the record, Keon Daley will enter Homestead second in the points, down by 12. But critically, he's only 5 points ahead of Sam Dinoto now. Wow. So it's now going to be a 3-car battle, 4 if you count Dillon Young, 27 points back. But realistically, it's going to be 3 Toyotas battling for the championship at Homestead Miami Speedway next week. We're looking forward to the season finale because we got 3 deserving drivers racing their hearts out for a championship. You never know what's going to happen at Homestead. It'll be the first time in one-up racing history that we go there. So anything, we don't know who's going to be favored to win, but we do know that Ryan Caggiano is going to enter with a lot of momentum, and it's his championship to lose at this point. So, from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, after a wild race at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the final few laps, we say goodbye for now. We'll see you in 1 week's time for the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. Congratulations to Sam Dinoto on the race win, but man, Ryan Caggiano really put a stamp on it. He's pole ahead of Keon Daley. He's the championship leader with just 1 race remaining.